Alrighty, it looks like I'm live. Okay, so hello everybody. My name is crow3893, and today I'm going to be showing you guys Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots. So I ran this game last year in last year's License-a-thon, and I ran the any percent category. This year I am running all master models. So this is basically like the all collectibles category where we have to collect all the master models rather than like only collecting 9 of them in an any percent run. We have to collect all of them. So it's so this category uses some similar movement, or like a similar routes, mainly in the beginning with any percent, as well as like collecting certain master models. But there are going to be some that we're collecting, and each of them are different from one another, and it's really unique. But before I get started, I want to give a quick little description about this game. So this released in 2007 for the PlayStation 2 and Nintendo Wii. It is the third one in the Nicktoons Night series. The main gimmick of this game has to involve with Professor Calamitous becoming the biggest genius, which he is doing so by stealing Krabby Patties, Ghost Energy, and Fairies. And because of this, we have to stop him. But there is but like during the beginning is more of like a backstory of what's basically happening with how we found out about this issue. Now, I'll just go ahead and get started to show you guys the run. So this is a pretty interesting one. This one's actually my favorite category, and sometimes, even though this is all master models, I like to quote unquote call this the diet hundo of this category of this game. All right, so timing starts on the first loading screen, which is after this prompt. But there is going to be an auto saving segment for like 17 seconds. So I just want to give give that like heads up just so we can make sure to start the timer on point to make sure we're good to go with it. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get ready right here. So I'll give the countdown for when the first loading screen appears. Alright, here we go. Let's get started. In 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, so we're going to be entering the first level, which is Bikini Bottom, but not really Bikini Bottom. We're entering in a factory in Bikini Bottom. Now, why we're in this factory has a bit of a backstory with the cutscene that was just skipped. So Patrick and SpongeBob were delivering 3,287 Krabby Patties. But an issue with this is that the robots in this factory went up and stole all of the Krabby Patties, and SpongeBob and Patrick were trying to stop them. Unfortunately, Patrick ended up getting kidnapped, and the only way SpongeBob was able to save him in this by disguising as a robot right here. Now, so currently right now we're in this factory just to go to the very end to save Patrick, which will happen when he's actually getting vacuum packed. Now, the first thing I'm going to mention here is like during this level, you saw me doing like these really long jumps after my rolls from like when I was rolling off of like corners or like edges of a platform or like any parts of the level. So that's a trick called roll cancel, and the way it works is so you're able to have momentum stored into like jumps, so like rolling speed, wind boost, which I'll go into more explanation about later. And this isn't a good example, but real quick, I want to show this off real quick. So in this game, you can canonically T-pose by jumping. You can canonically T-pose. And, oh, I wasn't able to get the trick. So we found out recently that you can actually pick up and throw enemies in this game, but it's never mentioned in the game at all. I accidentally discovered this a couple months ago, and I was in complete shock. And we didn't even know about it at all. So it's been hidden, and it's probably like a very late developed like accessory included with the game. But we are able to canonically make SpongeBob T-pose, or the other characters T-pose as well. Now we're at the end of the fact we finished Bikini Bottoms, and we were able to save Patrick. But not only were we able to save Patrick, we were also meet up with Tack of the Pupununu people and Timmy Turner from the Fairy Odd Parents, who's an average boy that no one understands. So we're currently right now just entering inside of this Evil Toy Co. Factory Zone 1, because Tack was mentioning to us how there are other heroes trapped nearby, but we just have to go look for them because we just have to, unfortunately. And this is mainly just like where it starts with us collecting the master models, which is the only way for us to progress. Now, earlier I mentioned about how like my how rolling is able to be stored in, and this is able to let us access big gaps or like skip many parts of levels. Like right earlier, I just did right there and in this area, so I was able to skip a cutscene and get some really tight movement. And this is like an example with like momentum being stored into jumps because rolling speed is double your walking speed in this game, so you're able to go twice as far as the distance. Speaking of this, I'm going to be able to use that to actually use a little cool glitch to basically trick the game into thinking I'm in a previous segment by rolling on some invisible platforms that is right above where we were on top. And doing this will actually deload certain elements in the later part, and it also deloads not only their models but their collision. And doing this was actually able to deload a pipe that was that like had a trigger that loads in this master model level that's meant for Gur. And spoiler warning, Gur is playable in this game, but he's not unlocked until way later in the game. And by way later, I mean you don't get him by getting another character, and you don't get that other character until you get another one by completing like the like around half into the gameplay. But we decided to just say screw the rules. We're just gonna do this our own way and clip out of bounds. And doing that was able to cause us to do like one of the later master model levels be being in like very short into the run. And it's really cool, honestly. And we're actually transported, continuing on more with the Invader Zim like stuff. So first was with Gur, but now it's also with like this chamber. So this is a master model chamber, and we're gonna be in these chambers most of the time in the run because this is the only way for us to get master models. And the way we do this is by defeating each enemies, like all the enemies that are in this area. And then afterwards, we just slam down on some buttons and we collect a master model. And each master model is of a specific character. Like that was from a Nicktoons show. Like at some point between like when Nicktoons first started, up until the mid 2000s. Now, one of the interesting things about it is that some of them actually have unlockable characters. Fortunately, not all of them are unlockable. Only like 4 of them can be unlocked. But it's still really nice to see, and I will be playing as some of them later on. Unfortunately, not Gert because we already collected his master model. So right here is another example of roll cancels. I mentioned how like doing like you're able to like go like double your distance because rolling is double your your walking speed. Oh, what the heck? Okay, this is giving me some trouble right here. So rolling is double your walking speed, and by doing roll cancels with it, you're able to go and like skip many sections much further than you would with like a roll and then a jump. And then that in that area saves around like 10 seconds. In the meantime, here's another skip right here. So by going to the top part of that pipe, there's normally an invisible wall that will block us. But there's an invisible platform on the right behind, or technically right behind in our perspective, of the pipe that we just came out of from that checkpointed us, and we were able to enter into Jenny's master model level. Again, unlocking the level without actually playing as Jenny, because these levels are character required levels, but we find many ways to go around them and be able to just skip them entirely without the needed character. Unfortunately, there are some that we can't do without with the needed character, because like they're either like there's no way to glitch through it, or it's not, or it's actually slower than just doing it with the character. And I'll go into the explanation more about that during when it actually happens later on in the run. Another thing I should have mentioned also during Jenny's level is the lasers, and I was doing a little trick called goo stalling, where every time you shoot your goo in the air, you're actually stuck in that position until you let go, which is pretty neat, but it also helps us to make sure that we get a consistent cycle with it, but also because of the lasers. Because the lasers in those in that section, while they may look very small, they actually have a massive hitbox, and if you immediately touch it, you're transported back to the beginning of it, which can be a bit tedious. And then we also just, so we were back inside of a master model chamber, and then we collected a master model of Mr. Blick, and the first master model we actually collected was a Tuesday X from the X's. Very classic shows, honestly. And right here, we're going to be continuing onward. So this is basically similar, like the master model collecting right now is pretty similar to how it would be in an any percent run. But past this point is where it's going to actually change, because we're going to be collecting a master model in this part that we normally don't collect in any percent because it's not as fast. but it's actually SpongeBob's Master Model level, and SpongeBob's level is pretty unique. But first, I'm gonna let you guys enjoy this cool little cutoff. Let's go! Yeah, so we're now in SpongeBob's Master Model level, and it's heavily reference of a sliding section. Now, it's really cool, honestly. So this is basically like the factory sewer pipes. Yes, I am not, and no, I am not lying, this is a sewer pipe, and it's kind of disgusting when you think about it, because SpongeBob is literally sliding on his tongue in a sewer pipe. Kind of gross, honestly, but at the same time, he has a sponge, so it probably doesn't affect him too much. But yeah, so this level is way different than the previous two that we were in for Gers and Jenny's. So those ones are more like platformers, because this game is an action adventure platformer, and with this level, it's just more like a sliding section that is heavily referenced. Normally, it's referenced from the Sand Mountain section in one of the SpongeBob episodes, but it's also really similar. Well, not really similar, but kind of like related to the sliding sections that you would do in SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom and in the SpongeBob movie game. So they're kind of similar. It's similar to those parts. There's just like the movement is really different, and you're going way faster, and it's not as smooth. Also, then from here, like you just have to make sure not to get hit by like any of the obstacles that are in your way, because if you end up making contact with it, you will be checkpointed back, and you'll lose quite a bit of time. And thankfully, because that didn't happen for me, I was able to make it into like a very good cycle. And let's see. Okay, yep. So now we're inside the Master Model chamber again, but this time with different enemies. So the previous ones you saw were actually with the toy blocks. And this time we are dealing with the Mr. Huggles bots, which are the pink teddy bears that are essentially like the main, like, I guess, villains that you encounter with, besides Professor Calamitous, like, because he's like the main one. But yeah, another thing I should have mentioned was also in that Master Model chamber, I collected the Master Model of Stimpy. However, you actually saw that it was like a 3D model rather than a blue square with a picture of him. If every unlockable characters that we collect with the Master Models actually have their 3D model shown, and that signifies that we basically can play as them. Oh, dang it, I didn't get my jump. Okay, I gotta redo this. So I want to show off a really funny trick right here. So you're normally supposed to enter that pipe at the end, but by going in a specific area, you can just do this. You can just jump on an invisible platform and be able to hit the trigger at the end. It's not really any like doesn't lose any time, doesn't save any time really. It's just really funny to show off because it's that easy. You just have to time it well when you like jump out of the pipe, when you have to like jump out because like the wind sucks you up and you have to make sure to get the right timing. So we're now in the second part of Factory Zone 1. So each factory in this game has two parts. So there's three factories. There's Factory Zone 1, Factory Zone 2, and Factory Zone 3. And there are two parts for each of them, and they're normally separated by like the theme of each of the factories. So like we're in a separate one, but we also while we were continuing onwards, we actually met up with Jimmy Neutron, and we're actually going to be unlocking him later. Well, actually, we're not going to really be unlocking him, but we're going to actually be finding him soon. So right here, I was supposed to be Patrick to enter in his Master Model level, but what I did was actually a trick called Any Character Skip. So the way Any Character Skip works, it's similar to how a roll cancel works. So whenever you jump and like you can have like your like speed stored into it, normally like a wind, there's like a certain amount of wind that sucks you up into a pipe. But by timing a jump, you're gonna actually go a little bit more faster than you'll actually like go up a bit more faster than you normally would. And doing this will barely make the character go go past the invisible wall or like the invisible platform that's preventing them from entering it. And this also because we're basically in the air while it's happening, we could just jump and we'll immediately hit the trigger to activate the level. And it's more important with Patrick because I was able to land on a certain part of like the level that was able to let me skip the bottom section of it, saving around like 5 seconds, which is really cool. So again, we're just back in another Master Model chamber dealing with the enemies of Blocks and Mr. Huggles. And then right here, I'm immediately going to switch to my second player, which is of Tak, because we're actually going to be doing Tak's Master Model level. But we're actually going to be doing a really cool glitch with it, and you'll see how it's going to go. So if you didn't see my run, my any percent run of this game from last year, it's gonna be a pretty game-breaking glitch. So just right now, I'm just gonna be like just doing some platforming, just get past some areas. Alrighty, there we go. Nice. So here we go. We're gonna enter into Tax Master Model level. So I just suggest that you sit back and relax for some jungle gymnastics. And here's another cutoff. He calls upon this Master Model level. Oh, okay, I didn't actually land right there. That was pretty weird. So right here, just get this. So even though this is more like a platformer, this is like this level itself is more like a platforming, like climbing level, and it's pretty unique, honestly. Oh, all right, I gotta be careful right here, so I'm gonna focus real quick. All right. So if I'm lucky, I should have avoided a low trigger that was right above where I was, and doing this will actually not load in the rest of the level, or like the later parts of the level, and this actually causes the skybox to show off, and doing this will be able to let us go out of bounds. So because this level doesn't have any like kill planes in it, we are able to freely roam out of bounds, and out of bounds in this game is really good because what we are able to do is we're able to just fall infinitely. So how this works is whenever we fall down, when a character reaches a certain value limit, the game basically puts them back up, but we're still able to have our aerial movement all around. So I'm still able to move, I'm still able to jump infinite, and because there's no coyote frames, so I'm able to just like jump whenever I want to. And doing this will actually be able to let me do a skip by doing some specific movement. I'm able to skip all the way from Factory Zone 1 of the Tax Master Model level to Factory Zone 3, which is where I'm at right now. So I was able to, so doing this was able to checkpoint me just all the way from Factory Zone 1 to Factory Zone 3. And it's pretty, like, even though it's like, it may look difficult, it's actually not as like difficult as you may expect it to be. It's actually used with the background of the out of bounds, because if you saw earlier, it was switching from like an image and then to a color, well, to two different colors, and then it went back to the image itself. And we use those as like our timing, and it's really helpful. And now because of this, I basically can continue on with the rest of the level. And what we're basically doing here is we're just going to continue onwards to continue and go on to Factory Zone 3, actually. So it's pretty cool, and this skip is really big. So it like basically skips half the game just because of a simple shortcut. But like if you're wondering how much this saves, it saves like almost 20 minutes. Like 20 whole minutes just by deloading and going out of bounds with like some easy movements. You can just skip half the game like that. And then I'm just going to continue onwards into the Master Model Chamber and collect the Master Model for this level. Well, not really for the level, but for Factory Zone 3's actually. And right here you can see it's another 3D model, which is of Jenny's, and of course she was, like it's already mentioned that she's playable in this game because of her Master Model level. Now another unique thing I am doing, especially with the Mr. Huggles bots, is when they're actually in that stun animation, I'm making them go off screen, and doing this will cause them to automatically disappear because the game thinks that like they're already dead even though they still have their animation. And what I've also been doing after I collect the Master Models is that I go around the pipe to hit the trigger because it skips a little bit of an animation that like sucks you up. So now we're entering into Factory Zone 3. So we were at first in Factory Zone 1, but now we are in Factory Zone 3, skipping all of Factory Zone 2, like the second half of Factory Zone 1, Part 2, and another level that I will explain about later. So from this point, we're just going to be continuing onwards with the rest of this level for two reasons. So the first reason is because we're actually be collecting another Master Model, but the second reason, which is the main one, is actually because of even though we technically can, so like normally when you're at this point in the game, you're able to checkpoint into like the main hub world, which is the basement. However, because the game knows, knows that we didn't complete Factory Zone 1 Part 2, because that's normally when you unlock the ability to go to the basement, because that's when you're supposed to normally see it in a casual playthrough. but because we never did it, we can't really checkpoint ourselves into the hub world. So we're just gonna complete it. We're just gonna complete all of Factory Zone 3, which will give us that ability to do it. But in the meantime, we're just gonna be doing some platforming and like just some quick movement, which is easily done with roll cancels as well, which is very helpful. And right here, we're being chased by a UFO, which is like the main part of this theme with this level, because this is like space theme. And hint, hint, we know who is in those spaceships, or like in those UFOs, and I'll explain more who they are later on, because that's not going to be the only time we're going to be seeing them. In the meantime, here comes the second master model that we're going to be collecting. Nice, got that first try. That was really good. So that was like a somewhat similar case of ACS. So what was actually different was so I mentioned how like there's like normally wind that sucks you up, but apparently in some master models the wind is barely outside of where it would normally like take you, and by doing this you're actually able to just like land, and because like the pipe itself has its own collision, so you're able to just land on it like you would on a normal platform, and you can easily just jump and hit the trigger, and it's just really easy. Unfortunately, like well, there is a way to do it with ACS for SAMs, but there is an alternative way to do it because this method actually is a little bit more harder. All right, had to work on that. There is a method that you can do with it that's a little bit more difficult. So there's always like alternatives for it. And I also collected a master model of Ginger from Life Told by a Ginger. And from here, just going to continue onwards with the rest of the factory. So from this point, it's just going to be us like going to the end, skipping many segments, and like some that are going to actually save a lot more time. Like not a lot, but just like some time. And right there, I had to intentionally do a jump, because if I didn't, I would have actually hit a... I would have made contact with the hitbox of the moving platform that was right in front of me, because if that actually happened, that would have put me back and I had to shoot down the generators again. And another thing I did earlier was I actually did a checkpoint exploit, which made me skip 2 fight phases, which was able to let me save over 10 seconds from combat and also just defeating the enemies. And from here is actually the end of the level. So we have to have our revenge on the UFOs for trying to eliminate us. And we're going to be doing this by just using a giant goo missile right here to destroy all of them. Now, another thing to look at is with the background, you can see these boxes that say Invaders on them. So another thing to continue on with the Invaders in references, in these UFOs are actually Urkins. Yeah, so we're eliminating Urkins, but I'm kind of hoping we didn't eliminate Zim. Maybe Zim's a nice person. But then again, he did want to actually destroy the world in his series, but at the same time, it really just wasn't that good. Alright, so what I did right there was that I entered in the character selection screen for a later level, which is called Amity Park. You're normally supposed to like get that level you're supposed to play before entering Factory Zone 3. But I had to do it for 2 reasons. So the first reason is actually because it's to be able to let me unlock Danny Phantom and Samantha Manson, because we're going to be using them to collect their master models for just for the later part of the game. And the second reason, oh, what the heck? Okay, that ledge was giving me trouble. That ledge is a little bit difficult to get a roll cancel out of. But the second reason I had to enter into Amity Park is actually because if I didn't do that, it would actually cause the game to crash. So by doing that, it was able to just skip and make sure that like, we were able to play it safely, because I guess the game's memory is tricked in with it. Another cool thing is this master model level. So this level, similarly to with SpongeBob and Tax, is different compared to the other levels that other characters have in this game. So right here, we're just gonna be inside of like a capacitor, and we're going ghost, and we're using our ghost energy to destroy these like purple cylinders to access these doors. And what makes this level more interesting, or like these levels, is because we're actually on a timer limit, as you can see on top, but we have like so much time that it's really hard not to like run out of time. Like it's so easy to this point, and maybe this was like, I'm not really sure like how it went, but it like the level itself is really fun. This is like one of my favorite, this is like essentially my favorite like mini game level for this game. The only downside is having to deal with the enemies all around, like the Mr. Huggles that you can see, because they're even though they can't really like shoot you that well, like normally like in like the Master Model chambers or in the game itself, in these ones the auto targeting for them are like extremely broken. that they are able to just hit you like right off the bat because they can register your input, and it's kind of hard to manipulate them to make sure that like their targets don't really hit you. You have to be like on point and make sure that you know like when they're gonna do it. So in the meantime, we're just gonna be continuing onwards. We're near the end of this level, and we just have to destroy this one, and then the blaster will be broken, and then from here I can just go. And you can see on the timer I have like 200 seconds left. That's still like that's still a lot of time, honestly. That's like 3 minutes, like around like 3.5. So that's kind of crazy, honestly. I don't know, like maybe they were maybe it's just because like of the constant like dealing with enemies, but it's still like kind of interesting to see like how much time it's given. So now we're just back in the same chambers but this time with Jenny's model right there. So you can see like Jenny is playable, and it's really cool to see like some like old Nicktoons characters who were really cut off the air many years ago, but still being able to see them. And speaking of that, is actually with this character of this master model we're collecting, which is a Dagged Doofus Beaver. I mean, sorry, wrong one. I'm sorry. I was saving that for another one. But it's actually of El Tigre. And I should mention this real quick. If you remember El Tigre, it was a great show. But it's actually, I think, now on Paramount Plus. So if you really want to watch that show again, you can easily watch it there. But yeah, I collected the master model, and instead of me like going back into the pipe, I was able to just warp to the basement, because it's just a little bit more time saved with it. Now right here, I am in the earlier section where we were with Tax Master Model for Factory Zone 1. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because even though we entered in Tax Master Model level for Factory Zone 1, we only completed his level for Factory Zone 3. So the game doesn't think that we even beat this one. So we have to do this one all over again, but not completely. This one is pretty short, thankfully. Factory Zone 3 is actually the longest one out of all 3 of them, because Tack, SpongeBob, and Danny all have a Master Model level in all 3 of the Factory Zones. Now, I did the exact same shortcut that I did, but the difference was that I actually I went up to a climbing section to hit the trigger, and doing this was able to let the rest of the level load in. And this is basically how the rest of the level is supposed to be played. Oh, what the heck? Okay, that's never happened for me, honestly. That is so cool. Only in the marathon, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, good. That was a bit risky. I shouldn't have played it that too risky. So this is like normally how Factory Zone 1 is supposed to be played, and each of them are different. It's just normal like simple climbing and jumping that we have to do. Oh, alright, gotta focus on this part. Okay, there we go. Nice. And then there's some cycles over here that I have to time my jumps to. Dang it. Alright, I'm gonna play it safe. Alright, there we go. Nice. And there we go. We are now done with Tax Master Model level for Factory Zone 1. And we're just going to go into the Master Model chamber to collect his Master Model, which is of Otis from back at the barnyard. So again, yeah, like Master Models are like references of other Nicktoons characters that are from like the mid early 2000s / late 90s. And it's really nice because 2 of the oldest Nicktoons characters are actually in this game. One of them, of course, being Stimpy, but another one is actually of Angelica Pickles, who we probably will see soon. I don't know. I forgot which Master Model, which character has that Master Model. I think it was either Patrick's or Timmy's, but basically, oh yeah, it's Timmy's. Okay, it was Timmy's. Sorry, just had to take a quick sip of water. This is your daily reminder to keep yourself hydrated. Now right here, yeah, so this point of the run is basically backtracking, and it's going to be for like another 20-25 minutes, but it still makes it up because each of these levels are very unique, have certain movements that must be done, and with like specific platforming as well. And right here, I'm actually going to go for a pretty cool skip, so I'm going to have to just focus right here. Nice, I got that first try. So I did a trick there called box hopping, and the way it works is whenever you jump on a character, their head is big enough to be considered as a platform, and doing this will be able to let you just jump on them, but it also resets your jumps. And by using Timmy's, we are able to just barely reach it on top of the fairy pipe that you're normally supposed to destroy, which actually skips a little section that you're supposed to avoid some gears that are normally supposed to attack you while you're jumping. So it was able to save like around 10 seconds because of it, which is very useful. And this is actually a different part with this route, or like with this part that I'm doing compared to any percent that I did last year. And that actually involves with us not collecting Jimmy Neutron in this game. So even though we technically haven't unlocked Jimmy Neutron, the game still registers that we have unlocked him with his master model being detected. Because when we completed Zone 3, the game just basically thinks that like, oh yeah, since we completed Zone 3, that means we're done with Zone 1 and Zone 2 along with any park. So we also have those. So we also have the master models of those characters as well. So it's basically a way to like just trick the game into thinking that like we collected him even though we didn't. And recently we found out a way that we can actually do his master model level without him to save like a lot of time with it, mostly with the Factory Zone 1's area. So right here we're in Factory Zone 2, and it's more of like a like a race car, like just like a car themed kind of factory. And it's pretty unique. And there was a combat section earlier with like certain characters called wheelies, which have two different forms that we will see later on in the run, and I'll actually explain their differences of what they of like how both those enemies can attack you. In the meantime, we were able to do the shortest master model level, which is of Sam's in Zone 2. So this master model used to be done with the ACS method, but like shortly after the marathon run, it was discovered that it doesn't even save any time at all, and even missing it once, it's much difficult to get because the trigger is a bit higher up than usual, and missing it once is an automatic reset. So at that point, it was just a way to just easily get runs going. So right here, just had another combat section with the Mr. Hugglesbots and collecting the master model for Cat Dog. And that's actually a master model that, like I mentioned, we collect in any percent. But here's one that we don't collect in any percent, and one of my favorite master model in this entire game, which is playing as Stimpson J. Cat, otherwise known as Stimpy. So what's pretty cool with most of the master model checkpoints, so like this game has like entry points, which are basically like checkpoints. And several of them take you to like areas that are very close to where each of the master models are. And here's Stimpy's right here. I got the glitch. Let's go. Okay. Oh wait. Okay, good. I got the glitch. So so normally this area, like this climbing part, is supposed to move from left to right while I'm avoiding those gears. But if I timed a double jump, I was able to go barely past the trigger and be able to just like prevent it from moving. And getting that with no death saves about like 5 seconds, which of course isn't really like much of something that worth going for, but it's still pretty cool to get, honestly. I was actually kind of glad because I wasn't able to really get that during my practice attempts. So here are actually the wheelie enemies, and you can see that they look like fire trucks, and we're actually going to be seeing them again with a different form later on with other master model levels. So we collected the master model of Daggett Doofus Beaver from the show Angry Beavers, and I like to think of a really interesting like backstory of why they made Stimpy collect the master model for Daggett. It's actually probably because like I like to think of it as like another like Invader Zim kind of reference, because for those of you who don't know, Stimpy's voice actor Billy West and Daggett's voice actor Richard Horvitz both voice Invader Zim. The only difference is that Billy West voiced Zim during the pilot, while Richard ended up being the final voice actor for Zim. And I like to think of that when it comes to like this specific master model, just because I don't know. I like to think of it just because there's already so many like Invader Zim references with this game. It's kind of cool, honestly. And here's another difference. So like we're going to be collecting Jimmy's master model, but we haven't actually unlocked him. And I'm going to play a safe strat right here. Okay, I got to deal with these enemies over here real quick. Alright, I'm going to play it safe here. So we're only supposed to be Jimmy, but by doing a roll cancel, I can go out of bounds. And I'm going to focus real quick. Nice, first try. Okay, so each of the master model, well, many of the master model levels that are, so like all of them, well, several of them basically are in like, they're like all like out of bounds in each of the factories. And Jimmy's is right below where you would normally be at. And by doing a roll cancel, you can barely go out of bounds. That was discovered, but what wasn't discovered was that we can actually be checkpointed to the very end by doing some goose stalling. And that saves normally 7 seconds from doing it without him. But it also makes up because we don't have to complete the rest of Zone 1 just to unlock him. And that skip at most saves 40 seconds, which is pretty big. And it can actually be able to drop the any percent time down and by quite a bit. And it's pretty easy, honestly. So it's possible to do it with, so it's able also to let us collect like a master model for like other categories in this game, like with any percent no wrong warp. Oh no, actually no, not really that category. More like SpongeBob only, I think. Well, kind of, yeah, because that one doesn't really require Jimmy. Anyways, from here, we're actually going to continue onwards rather than me checkpoint back to the basement because this checkpoint has it for 2 master model levels, and this one's for Danny's. And here's a cool way to hit his to enter his level. You can easily hit the trigger at the top of the level. Now, I am actually going to be quiet during this section because of the background music, because I want you guys to enjoy it because it sounds really nice in my opinion. But also because of the constant spamming with the sound effects. So I'll let you guys enjoy the music while you get to see this really nice scenery. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed that because it's one of my favorite soundtracks in this game. And it's pretty cool to listen to in stereo, like very electro, really nice. So we're back in another master model level, master model chamber. And what's pretty cool is that we're going to be unlocking one of, I think, yeah, like the final character, the final playable character, which is actually of Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. And it's pretty cool. Oh! What the heck? Oh, wow, I was barely on the edge. That was pretty cool, honestly. Okay, there we go. Now there is an unfortunate thing with this master model level, which is for SpongeBob Zone 2, is that even though I mentioned that we're like mostly checkpointed to the like close to the master models, unfortunately that is not the case with SpongeBob's for Factory Zone 2. We're actually transported to the very beginning of Factory Zone 2 Part 2, which is like which is like a minute of platforming, or like 2 minutes of platforming, which makes this level, which makes like just this section of collecting this master model a bit more longer. So this is normally like where it determines like with your movement, making sure like just to like get everything correctly. And I'm gonna play it a bit safe and hoping that I at least hit the trigger. Okay, good. So you can sometimes not hit a trigger, and doing that will actually deload like many things in this level from here. So like the spikes you see on the top and on the bottom, as well as like the background elements, they will not be displayed. And that's actually going to be that's actually a little bit more harder to determine like where you'll be at for the level, because you might accidentally like hit the ceiling or like hit the flooring while you're just trying to land on each of these platforms. So yeah, like right here, we're just gonna like go on our way over to SpongeBob's master model, but it's just gonna be quite a bit. But in the meantime, here, enjoy SpongeBob staring at you with his karate gloves. And here's a cool little thing: you can tippy toe. Oh, I fell. Oh no, that's not good. Okay, I gotta. That loses a lot of time, unfortunately. So even though like these platforms like go back up, their hitboxes are not properly, like their collision is not properly set, and you have to wait a little bit before you can actually walk on them before you're able to do it. Because if I were to roll like right there, I would have to wait I would immediately just fall through. So I wait a bit because like, just to wait for their collision to be set. And you want to know a little cool thing? So even though these lasers can normally hit you, that one doesn't. My life is a lie. Just kidding. But yeah, it's so weird why that happens. That accidentally happened to me in a no reset, and I was just surprised that it actually happened. And then right there, I'm just jumping on the top of the pipe for the fairies inside. That was able to just let me be able and like reach the top of the master model early. There's a second cutoff for Let's Go. Unfortunately, we couldn't really hear it because I was talking, but yeah, that's the second one. But don't worry, we'll get one more very soon, actually. So again, as mentioned, SpongeBob has 3 of these, one in each factory, and what's very good about it is that they're actually each of them like have like their time save and time loss from just from like how long they each take. And this one is actually the shortest one out of the 3. The longest one is the one in Factory Zone 1, and the second fastest is the one in Factory Zone 3, but it's only like 2 or 3 seconds slower than this one. So both of them are the fastest out of the 3 SpongeBob Master Model levels, and because of this, it's normally like those ones are normally used to collect a Master Model in SpongeBob only. Alright, there we go. Alright, had to be a bit careful there. I also like the background music that plays in SpongeBob's Master Model level, because it's so cool. Like it's a nice like tuned guitar that kind of matches with his theme, honestly. And then the last one for SpongeBob's, I'm gonna show off a really I guess a really glitchy thing that you can do in the levels that is so easy, but at the same time it's pretty risky, because if you don't, you'll actually end up dying, and it'll teleport you back to the beginning, which is unfortunate, but it's really cool to just show off. So right there, I just collected the Master Model of Auto Rockets from Rocket Power. And then I'm going to be collecting the next one with Tack, and because of course with checkpoints, able to save a little bit more time by just backtracking, or like just going back into the basement and then entering through the checkpoint, just to save like a minute of movement. And then I'm going to hope that I get some good spawn RNG. Okay, I didn't. So sometimes, so because Tack was actually my second character, I wasn't able to spawn in as him. But there are times where you can actually play as your second character, but it's a little bit random when it happens, honestly. And you can get it sometimes. It doesn't save that much time. It only saves like a second or two, so it's not really like a major thing to go for. But it's really cool whenever it happens. But it's kind of an unfortunate thing if it ends up happening to you in SpongeBob only.
You know what's missing here? There's just not enough sheep.
another cool thing is with the dialogue with this game, and like with like the voice lines for each of the characters, they're kind of like simple little like callbacks from each of their shows or like certain things that like they do with their characters. So now we're entering the next, well, actually the last Master Model level for TAC, which was also the signifying us with our last call upon. So this is the last one where we're just gonna be doing it pretty normally because there's no like major skips in this level, unfortunately. But in the meantime, we get to just really like enjoy like the scenery with it. So this one is mainly just about making like specific cycles. It's a bit more tougher with this one than it is with Factory Zone 1s and Zone 3s. And I gotta be careful right here. Ah, dang it. Okay, I was close. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can make... Dang it, I was close. Alright, that was... Dang. Alright, got the platform at least, so that's nice. That was... Wow. That was almost gonna get me. Ah, dang it. Okay, I was slow on the cycle, but thankfully this one is gonna be a little bit more easier to get. Ah, I didn't jump. I didn't space them out correctly. Dang. I'm gonna be careful right here, because if I were to jump out, you'll slightly go a bit higher from where you like barely were. And doing this will actually, if I was too close to the spiky platform, like the spiky, like the little like the spiky cylinder thing, it would have made me like make contact with it and would have checkpointed me back. But thankfully with this game, you can't run out of lives. You have infinite lives. You're just limited with health because of how much damage you're given, or, like how much damage is like taken really. All right, and here comes another area I gotta focus with its cycles. My A input got dropped. Nice. We made it through, and we have finished all of TAC's Master Model levels. So there's actually, now this is actually where we see the second form of the wheelies. So the first ones were normally firefighters, and those ones actually fire trucks, and those normally like shoot projectiles at you. But the bulldozers actually charge towards you, and when they charge towards you, they will basically like you'll be like hard locked when that happens. And it's pretty difficult, so you have to like make sure not to like get hit by them while they're running towards you. And the unfortunate thing is that they have iframes when you're trying to shoot them when they charge towards you. But as long as you hit them before they do their animation, you're able to cancel it and be able to attack them much quickly. Now right here we're collecting the final Master Model with Timmy Turner's, and this is actually like his second one. Funny enough, it's also at the last one for in a factory, just like it was with Factory Zone 1. And for a cool little thing to showcase, Cosmo has a hammer in this game. Pretty cool. It's like it was nice that like they were able to to reuse like certain like models and references that they were using in the previous game, Battle for Volcano Island. Which, a little heads up for those who don't know, tomorrow I'm actually going to be running that game again here at Licensathon. So if you want to check out that game as well, tune into that showcase. But again, it will be at tomorrow. So again, just had like some simple, easy platforming. I mean, like it was a bit difficult the way I did it, because if I didn't space out my jumps correctly, I probably would have, I would have made contact with like the, I'm not really sure what those particles are, but it's like, I think it's like goo, or like just a very bad case of goo, and I was able to just avoid it. And also, I got good RNG in this chamber. So even I mentioned about like how there's two different types of bulldozers, or like two different types of wheelies. So depending on where like you land or like how you spawn in, basically, the first one that you actually attack would normally. Oh, that was a gold. Wow, that was a big gold. That's pretty cool. So in Timmy's master model level for Zone 2, there's actually the first one that you would normally attack would be either a fire truck or a bulldozer. And if it's the fire truck one, you have to be very cautious because the one that's to the left is actually a bulldozer, and that will automatically charge towards you. So because that didn't happen for me, I was able to at least get the good RNG. And it's random every time. We don't know like if there's a way to like prevent it from happening. But in the meantime, we are currently here in Factory Zone 3 Part 1, which is more supposed to be like a cutesy kind of like just like a little like happy level. But this level is the complete opposite of happy, because this level is pretty hard. Well, this part of the factory is really difficult. And another weird thing about it is that in the Wii version, it actually plays the background music for Factory Zone 1, but on the PS2 version, it plays its actual music. And doing this, we're just gonna be able to just continue onwards, and we're doing the last master model for Danny Phantom, and we're just gonna do one more. And earlier I mentioned like that I just wanted to turn off like the sound effects so you guys can also enjoy the music. But the main reason is actually because of the sound that is played when I'm spamming my ghost energy right here, and which is the exact same sound effect like over and over again, and it gets kind of repetitive. So I just turned it off just so you guys won't have to continuously hear it. And I'll just like trying to make sure to talk over because it can be a bit annoying after quite a bit of time. Sometimes this level can have the music looped randomly, and it does happen. It also happens in certain other levels. Most likely, it would have happened in Amity Park. But it's still pretty weird that it happens actually. Okay, so I was able to make some like a small movement right there, and not have to break one of these like blocks. These blocks right here, like you notice that they have numbers, either a 1 or a 5. We're not really sure what these numbers mean because it doesn't determine like the amount of like circuits you get from it, because circuits in this game are like the collectibles, which are these blue cube things that you see right here, and I have 1,400 of them, and we're not sure why these have the numbers, but it's not also because of like how much hits it takes for them to be destroyed, because you can easily destroy the ones that say 5 on them in like 3 hits. And the same goes for the ones that also say 1. So you can see like right there was a 5, but I was able to just immediately finish it. And now from here, we're going to be entering the next Master Model Chamber, but similarly to how it is in Factory Zone 2 with collecting Jimmy's and Danny's Master Model level, this checkpoint takes us for 2 Master Models, and that's for SpongeBob's and Danny's. So I'm actually not going to be checkpointing myself back into the, I'm not going to warp myself back to the basement, but continue onwards with the level. And I am going to do a pretty cool like an old skip that was done previously in the old any percent route before the wrong warp was discovered, which is basically the no wrong warp category. Oh, I just had a weird issue with my batteries. I'm gonna cost some time real quick. Okay, that might not be good. That might not be a good thing. Thankfully, I have spares with me just in case. I have spare batteries with me in case they end up dying. Alright, so we're spawning in a SpongeBob, and we're just gonna be going here. And then, like sometimes this level will like have struggles deload. It'll be like have a struggle with like trying to load in. Normally, like when you try and replay it, it messes with the game's memory for some reason. We don't know why. And then right here, I'm gonna go for a cool skip called Disco Skip. So these platforms are normally supposed to like destroy these certain ballerinas, and it's like all of them like with 2 phases in order to continue onwards. But by doing a roll cancel, we can easily just teleport ourselves, or like just basically do a roll jump all the way over here to the later section without having to worry about them, because that section is all about RNG, and it's really annoying to deal with. And that skip was like found around the same time roll canceling was like first discovered, so it's pretty cool. I also didn't go for like the fast cycle there. I wanted to play it safe, and okay, good. At least I got the checkpoint right there. That never happened to me, but thankfully it deloaded the enemies from going to attack me, which is very good at least. So we're gonna be entering the last master model level for SpongeBob, and enjoy the last cutoff of Let's Go.
Let's go.
Let's go. So yeah, this is the second fastest one. And we're just gonna continue it normally. And throughout each of these ones, I've actually been cutting these corners right here just to save like some extra time. Not really sure if this even does save time because like you already go really fast. But at the same time, the corners themselves aren't really like major ones. But it's pretty cool. And I'm gonna go for a cool jump boost over here. Nice. That was awesome. And I mentioned earlier about like a really cool like glitch that you can do. So if you time it correctly, you can actually clip underneath. You can actually clip underneath the floor, and it's pretty funny. You can also get stuck sometimes in certain like certain edges of the platform in these sections. But it's unknown really like where you have to get it specifically. And okay, yeah, I did my jump way too early, so I got transported back to the very beginning, unfortunately. That was right towards the end, so this is gonna like cost quite a bit of time. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna do the clip again where I'm gonna go underneath the floor because it's really funny. But when like you can see like the movement, the way like the platform is, it like goes like up and then down and like all around and stuff. This will actually like help displace us, so like make sure like we're like back on top. But it's still pretty cool, honestly. But this is like, even though I messed it up, this is still kind of a benefit because we get to enjoy the background music, and I actually I'm gonna let you guys enjoy that as well because this part of the music is really nice. Alright, there we go. I got the jump correctly. And there we go. We are at the end. And normally at that final cutscene, there's like a bunch of the Mr. Hugglesbots, or well, I guess like JPEGs of them that are just all around in a circle. But it's pretty cool with the cutscene, and because at the end, SpongeBob will like slide and then just like do a pose, and it's pretty cool. Even though it's still kind of disgusting realizing that he is sliding on his own tongue. But it's more like kind of surprising about the fact that he didn't even like burn his tongue and how he can even like how he's even able to do that. But then again, he probably has the Toon Force with him for that part. Alright, so there we go. There's the last Mr. Hugglesbot. And then we're going to be collecting the master model of Crumb from Ah Real Monsters. Alright, now we're on to collecting the final master model in this game, which is one of Rocco's, which is what we're going to be doing right here, which will take us to Factory Zone 3 Part 2. And I'm going to go for a cool trick here. Alright, so what I did there is like, normally before like there's like a little bit of lag from like when you confirm your characters and then it takes you to the loading screen. But by doing it precise timing, we're not sure if it's frame perfect, but by doing it in a certain window, you can see right here that Rocco is in a pilgrim costume. And that's actually because I was able to do a trick where you can actually register an input before the loading screen occurs, and doing this will automatically let us like unlock costumes. This doesn't mean that we are able to purchase them. We still have to buy it, but it's a nice thing to show off, and I wanted to show it off at some point during the run. I'll also do it again for the next level as well, just because it's going to be kind of cool to show off a nice little cool reference. Alright, and then Rocco's master model is close. It's right here. And I gotta be careful. You can actually enter in this level without Rocco because the trigger is actually outside of the pipe. It's not inside. But the issue is that if you mess it up like if you're barely too low or if you're actually too high, you will get soft locked and you have to reload the level, which will lose a lot of time. So it's really not worth it. And again, we're being chased by a UFO. And a cool thing right here, you just do a roll cancel and you'll immediately hit the end level trigger, which is kind of funny, honestly. Alright, so now we're going to collect the final master model, which is a Gur from Invader Zim. So yeah, that's how late we get Gur. We have to unlock Danny Phantom, and then we have to unlock Rocco, and then we have to play as Rocco in one of the later levels, which, yeah, it takes quite a bit just to unlock Gur. There we go. And I like Gur's master model image because, like, he's doing, like, one of the poses that he's doing, like, a really cool pose, and it's kind of funny. Now we're entering the next level, which is Fairy World, but just for fun, I'm going to play as my favorite character. Well, actually, I'm going to play as Gur. And I'm going to go for the costume trick. I'm not sure if I got it. I probably pressed right a bit too late, but let's see if I hit it within the window. And this level is going to be way different than how it was showed off last year. Okay, I didn't get the costume, unfortunately. If I got his costume, it would have been of his dog costume from the show, which is really nice. So, this level, you're seeing right here, it's not really how this level is supposed to be played. That's because we're going out of bounds, and we're able to do a roll cancel right at the very beginning to get past a kill plane, and we're able to just maneuver and go out of bounds, and this is just done by holding right, and this will immediately be able to let us skip all the platforming and let us skip all the way to the very end of the level. It's the only downside of this is that it's like 3 minutes. It's 3 whole minutes of going out of bounds, which of course is boring. And even though, like, yeah, this may not be like that too flashy, it's to show off, of course. I still wanted to at least be able to show it off because it's a really cool one. But just to make it up for some of the boring time, I will be playing like the background music, because as you can see right here, if you look at the character icon. The character image on the top left, you can see that it actually disappears when I press the minus button. And I'll actually time it with a certain cue in the background music. But for now, I want to actually give an explanation about like how this level like corresponds with the actual story with the game. So I mentioned in the beginning of the before I started my run that Professor Calamitous was basically going to be the biggest genius by using Krabby Patties, fairies, and ghost energy. In this level, he is using the fairies by stealing a bunch of them, by basically like making them go to like this like buffet that like is basically like a pipe that normally like takes them in and takes their fairy gas. Yeah. And doing this, so we're basically in Fairy World to save Jorgen von Strangle, so that way he can put a stop to Professor Calamitous' machines. Alright, in the meantime, I'm gonna do a little timing with the background music with the character image on top. Alright, that was pretty cool. Alright, so we're coming up near to the end of the level. We're coming near to the closest of the out of bounds. Alright, so I gotta focus right here real quick. In the meantime, you get to enjoy more of the amazing background music. Alright, so I positioned myself in a certain point that will be able to let me hit the end of the level trigger, which will also let me avoid an auto saving second. But if I don't hit the right spot, I will be soft locked, unfortunately. Thankfully I got it, which was good. I'd like to think that's a good cutoff. Alrighty. Now we're on to the final level, which is Professor Calamitous' lair. And this level is different compared to what we were in before. So we were more in like platforming levels. This one is actually more like a shooting level. And this requires us to play as like in a different kind of movement used with it. So we're in something called a mech suit. And I actually purchased an upgrade of the mech suit. And that's also with SpongeBob's, because SpongeBob's mech suit upgrade is actually completely broken. Where if you actually hold down the button to shoot out your missiles, you will actually have more shoot out, which is very, very good, because it saves like a bit of time, but also with how much of the energy that is like the amount of ammo that's like used for it, because you can see right here, this little part right here that it determines how much of our ammo we have. And I gotta be very careful right here because I'm on low health. So the unfortunate thing here with this level is that There's no really like major skip. There is a skip that you can do, which is in this level, or like this part right here. I don't want to go for it because it can cost up a lot of time and it's super difficult. The way it works is that you can actually pause buffer in this game, and by so when you unpause and pause, the frame rate of the game will actually drop down to half of its native resolution, and doing this will actually increase the speed a bit of your character. And when you're going out of bounds in like the mech suit levels, because Annie Park is another mech suit level, you don't have full movement when you're out of bounds like how you would in a platform and like any of the other levels. So because of that, going out of bounds in these sections are really difficult, especially with this one. So we have to do like a timing with our pause buffering, and we also have to get 2 exact movements done correctly, because if we don't, we either get softboxed or we get a respawn, which loses a lot of time and a run to die. And if you're wondering how much the out of bounds normally saves, it skips all of this area and around like almost 40 to 50 seconds, depending how long it takes for you to complete it without the out of bounds. Because getting it with the out of bounds takes around 6 minutes. Not doing the out of bounds takes around 6 minutes and 50 seconds. So it has quite the time save, but comes at a very risky cost. And also risky because it's at the final level in the game, and it can be the main point of whether it's gonna make or break your run. So again, from this point, I'm just gonna continue just shooting down like these generators to progress forward. And there are like some auto-scrolling bits like right here. They're not really that long, but it kind of makes this level a little bit more longer than it's supposed to. Sadly, there really aren't that many. There aren't any like major skips. There are some, but they don't really. Like, this doesn't save any time, unfortunately. But unfortunately, yeah, there's not really much to find in this game other than like the out of bounds, which we're kind of hoping that we can one day find a way to like completely get rid of that and like have an alternative way to skip all of it, but still being able to get enough time saved from it all. Alright, let's see if this works. Alright, nice. So again, it's going to destroy another generator right here. And then coming up is a section with RNG. And what I'm trying to do is I'm making sure to just to make sure not to get hit by any of the Big Tin robots right here. So these enemies are called Big Tin robots, and normally I am trying to destroy these ones the most. Alright, so that was actually good RNG. Even though I had the bad one, it was with good movement still, thankfully. So I'm destroying mostly those specific enemies called Big Tin robots, and the main reason is because they're actually the only enemies in this level that give me the ammo for my goo missiles. And because goo missiles are overpowered in this section, we're able to just like bypass everything very quickly. But sometimes they can actually drop down like a random amount, so that's also another case of RNG. So they can either like give you like either 1, 2, or 3 ammos. Most of the time it will be like at least 2, but getting 3 of them is going to be very helpful. But it's also a way to make sure that you always have enough ammo. As you can see, like right here, I still have enough. And I'll still be able to have some left over, which I will save for the very end. And right here, I'm going to position myself very carefully in the center of this platform, because if I don't, I will actually avoid a trigger that will load in the rest of the level. And the easiest way you can tell is when you see like these orange like windows right here. If this doesn't show up right there, that means that this part won't load in, and you have to fall and respawn, which will lose you quite a bit of time, at least like 2 minutes. So that's like something that you have to be very cautious about with when it comes to this level. So right here, I'm just gonna continue onwards with the rest of it. Alrighty, good. And then I'm gonna wait a bit, and I'm gonna shoot at this helicopter because it'll give me 2 ammos. There we go. Nice. And again, we're close to the end, and this is really nice. Good run, honestly. This is a really good one. This is better than like what than like my practice attempt from yesterday, because I messed up quite a lot in this level. Oh, good! I got the range for that ammo. So when you're like when you're like at a specific distance from like the ammo range, it'll automatically attract to you, and it's really nice. You don't have to go all the way to it. You can easily just like be like somewhat of a distance from it, and you'll still be able to pick it up, which is very cool. All right, so we're near the end, and we're gonna be in like one more like auto-scrolling section right here, just like avoiding the turrets and like other enemies that are going to be in our way. and we're gonna deal with one more section where we have to destroy 2 more generators and then break down a wall. Alright, so we're currently going to be entering the final section right here, and we have to hope to make sure that we don't get a soft lock. So time actually ends when I walk into the wall and the final cutscene plays, so be ready for that. Oh, I got soft locked. Dang it, dude. Dang it. So easy way you can tell, as you can see right there, there's 2 areas, there's 2 walls right there. They're supposed to break down, but I didn't break it down at a good timing, so I was unable to get it down so I ended up destroying it too quickly, which led to like a soft lock, preventing you from beating the rest of the level. And because of that, I had to reload and die to like redo it. Unfortunately, it takes us back to this auto-scrolling segment, so I am going to play a little bit more safer with this one. It's kind of unfortunate, honestly, because I haven't encountered that in quite a bit. Alright, this should be it. Are you serious? I got it again. What the heck? How? That's the 2nd time. Dang, that is not good so far. Well, it looks like, thankfully we're still like very far ahead of estimates, so this isn't gonna cost us any major time. Okay, right, just dealing with this. I'm gonna play it a little bit more safely with it. All right, maybe this will be the one. Alright, there we go. Alright. And then we're just going to destroy the last one. Okay, we are seconds away from calling time. And time. Nice. That was not bad. Still a sub 110, surprisingly. Even with those mistakes, even with both soft locks. That made me lose around like a minute and 40 seconds, unfortunately, but that was really good. That was really good. That was great. So yeah, we completed Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots. We were able to stop Professor Calamitous from becoming the biggest genius. And because of this, we were actually able to have somebody else win the be titled the biggest genius. And I'll let you guys see who it is.
Just get on with it and tell me I'm the winner.
The judges have made their decision. The winner of the biggest genius is the Chadbot.
Chadbot.
Yeah, so Chadbot is the biggest genius. And yes, his name is self-explanatory. He's a Chad. Alright, so just gonna do a quick little proof to show that we did collect all the master models. I'm going to open up the save file. But in the meantime, I'm going to give some quick shout-outs. So, want to give a quick shout-out to the Nicktoons speedrunning community. We are a small community, but we still like to be able to work our way into breaking several of the Nicktoons games as fast as we can, with many types of glitches and tricks used throughout the run, and being able to just like also for like certain and specific categories as well. All right, cool. We collected all the master models, so there it is, 100% approved that we collected all the master models. So, yeah, shout-outs to the Nicktoons speedrun community. I want to give some shout-outs to some individual people. So I want to give a big shout-out to Broran, the current world record holder for any percent of this game, for dealing with this game's RNG, and mostly importantly, the layer skip. I want to give a big thank you to Schnurd for being our glitch hunter in the community, for finding many of the tricks used in this run, as well as the ones in any percent, and especially the wrong warp as well. Want to give a big thank you to Storage and the Only Stick Boy for being my inspirations to run this game in general. And I want to give one quick little shout out to Rubber Toe 64 There you go. But yeah, other than that, this game is really like interesting if you want to try it out. You can play it on a PlayStation 2 or Nintendo Wii or like a Wii U or PS3 via backwards compatibility. And if you are interested in trying out this game speedrun, we do have an any percent tutorial that is uploaded on my YouTube channel if you want to look for it. So that's youtube.com/crow3893, and you'll be able to find a playlist that has the tutorial to complete this game's main category. You'll also be able to find it on the speedrun.com website. But yeah, other than that, that is all of Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots. Thank you guys so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your time here at License-a-thon. See you around!